Hey there, kids. The Fan Man coming at you from the front lawn of the Myers house. It's a spook house. On this first Mask Mondays of this wonderful month of October. Happy October. We are going to have every Monday a Mask Monday throughout October here on the Fan Man channel. I haven't had much content. Otherwise, I have been, as I've said many times, super busy. I have not been this busy since I was a full-time teacher, and that's great. And that's not just because of work, but just everything going on. Both of my daughters now teenagers and in high school, one in eighth grade, one a sophomore, and just so much going on. So I will be doing Mask Mondays, and I'm going to try here and there to do some other content. I'm excited about Mask Mondays as well because hopefully next week I will be getting in a mask that is something I've never seen before. Now I've only been in the mask, and I'm not an expert by far, but I've been in the mask enthusiast game, if you will, now for about 10 or so years, off and on. And I actually really got into masks with Scream, Ghostface. That's why I started buying those up, and I have a number of those. Sadly, none of the original versions that are worth hundreds, but I have some through the years I've bought here and there. And then I got into Halloween. I came to Halloween late. Thankfully, I never saw any of the crappy sequels, and I saw John Carpenter's Halloween in its entirety. That was the first Halloween movie, and for me, it's the only one. None of the other sequels should exist, I think. And of course, I then went deep into the Michael Myers mask fandom, which is one of the biggest fandoms, I think, in horror, probably in geekdom, and fascinating. And some super talented people, these independent mask makers, and not just Michael Myers. Of course, I also got down the rabbit hole because I really enjoy, most of the Friday the 13th series, and have even made a few of my own hockey masks using the blanks. You can buy these inexpensive blanks from China. Sometimes they sell them locally as in, the US on Amazon, but I usually just get them from eBay. Props need to be given to Big Hush, who is a guy out in neighboring Texas, who wonderful channel and does some tremendous stuff. Great artist, and also a musician. So he's a great guy, and he encouraged. It's actually one of the reasons I got into it is watching his videos, and he really is encouraging people to do their own thing. So I've made a part 4, which I think I actually showed on my channel. If you look last year or the year before, I made a part 3 not last Friday the 13th, but the one before. I want to make a part 6, and to get a part 6, I would really need to get a part 6 hood. I have a part 4 hood, but anyway, I'm rambling. So I love masks. I've gotten into masks a lot more other than Michael Myers and Scream and Jason in the last few years. And so here on Mask Mondays, I like to focus on masks that are cool. And in this case, something that I'm going to be doing, which is from Lord Grimley's Manor, who I highly recommend you go and visit them. Down below in the description box right now, click on that link. They are a small business here in Lafayette, Louisiana, and they have a tremendous wealth of wonderful Halloween masks, decorations, collectibles, you name it. And they will get it shipped to you quickly. It will be packaged with the utmost care of a collector, a fellow collector, and enthusiast. And you if you want to get that new Halloween Kills mask that everybody on eBay on eBay, but on YouTube is talking about, they are the guys. They've got them in stock. They'll get them to you quickly. They'll pack with them with care. So you would definitely want to go with Lord Grimley's Manor. And you guys know, you use my code FANMAN10. Put that in as the code, you save 10% on any purchase. So I love those guys. I became a huge fan of theirs after I got my 78 mask from them a few years ago, after a horrible experience with Trick or Treat itself studios directly. And I've let that go. Bygones are bygones. But I'm so glad I discovered Lord Grimley's. So I am going to be getting a mask from them that is original to them. It's one of their originals that they design in-house, and then they produce. And I can't say that I've ever seen, again, I'm not a long time, 40, I'm 45. I'm not a 30-year mask enthusiast who knows all the ins and outs and the companies and all. But this mask that they've got right now is very cool. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, with one exception that comes close, and I only learned about that the other day. And I don't want to say anything more. I don't want to spoil it. I'm hoping to have it in for next Monday so that I can show you this mask. It is so cool, and I hope it catches fire for them, because I think it would be such a neat thing for kids, anybody of all ages. It could be a new Halloween tradition, this mask, and it's beautifully done. It's great. So I haven't gotten it in hand to actually do anything with it yet, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, what would you do other than wear it? You'll see. But it's so cool. So that I'm hoping for next Monday, if not the Monday following. And then I've got 3 masks that I've also ordered from Lord Grimley's that will be coming in, that I've had my eyes on for years. They are classics, especially for fans of Halloween. And I'm hoping to do that either as one video or just look at each of them over the successive Mondays we have left. And we only have 3 left anyway, right? So, but this mask that we're going to look at, oh man, I got to tell you, this is one of those masks that when I saw it for the first time, okay, my first thought was, nah, I will not buy this, because I know that when I order it, it will not be the mask that I am going to get from our folk, the folks selling it to me. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is variably sold under many different names. It might be Smiling Demon Mask. It might be Creepy and Scary Halloween Mask, Horrible Evil, Devil, Cosplay Props, Halloween Costume Party Props. Many times the sellers are not native English speakers, so they have like 16 different names and words they're using, and that's also for the tags, right, and all that. I understand that. But this mask is, because of my interests, Facebook was showing it to me, and usually I hate what they show me. This caught my eye. I saw it in Marketplace. I saw it on Etsy. I saw it on eBay. And now I've seen it on Amazon. I looked it up tonight. And let's look at it in detail, right? So we're going to do, because look at how cool this is. This is a great zoom in that we have of this mask here. Okay. These are photos. This is not my mask, obviously. And this is in a shop of some kind. We are perhaps led to believe it's on a mannequin head. You can notice the buckle on there. So that's, that's not just an elastic strap. They've got a buckle, a little more pricey. Look at the detail, though, under, the bags under the eyes. There's a black wash bringing out the deep sculpt that's going on. Look at the yellowed kind of cracked teeth. When I look at this, my first thought was Gwynplaine from The Man Who Laughs, right? The silent film that inspired the Joker. So I know a lot of people look at this and go, oh, Joker. That too, but I see more Gwynplaine because I don't know. It just, maybe it's I don't know why that came to mind first. I guess because the Joker was obvious, but really great detail here. I mean, and look at that paint, And so this is fantastic, and I've seen this all over in various places. And then you see these images, and you see this guy, guessing it's a guy, I guess it could be a girl, wearing a hoodie, and boy, does that look creepy. Imagine seeing this person coming at you in the middle of the night on Halloween night. Yikes. Horror mask. Here's a side view. Here's a close-up of those wonderful chompers. This one has creeped me out too, because I've seen this, the head slightly askance, just kind of looking at you tilted there, and the long hair, and it's like, nah, nope. Probably, I think we'd all crap ourselves if we saw this. Here's what I'm guessing, again, could be a guy. I don't know. Looks like a lady wearing the mask, which is even more creepy. Also reminds me, boy, this is an obscure reference, but some people may know this movie called The Grave Dancers, and they had some ghosts. It's kind of a ghost movie, and it's not bad. It's actually a lot better than you would expect. Came out years ago, little independent film. And the Grave Dancers, the ghosts have these rictus grins, and they look horrible and creepy, and kind of reminds me of that, which is a good thing. And then here's another close-up of those just nasty teeth, man. They're gnarly. So that's super cool. Even if you're not into Halloween and horror, you have to at least admit that the detail of the sculpt, the paint, this is pretty great. Now, I'm not an expert in masks, but what I've learned over the years, reading about them and talking online to people that are mask enthusiasts and mask makers, is that when you're an independent mask maker, or even if you're not mass market like Ruby's, even Trick or Treat Studios, though they're not quite on the level of Ruby's Fun World, who makes the Ghostface mask, among others. Once you start mass production, you're losing quality because you're running these things out. You're using a mold over and over, and there's mold degradation. And so It's like in the old days in the 80s, those of us who are old enough remember, I'm going to copy this show, this movie, put it on a VHS, and then my friend wants a copy, I'll copy the copy. Well, then that degrades. So when I saw this picture, my first thought was beautiful. I'll never buy one because there's no way that it's going to look like that. Now, if this had been from one seller and they talked about the sculpting process and they designed it and they made it and limited production run, I'd be like, yeah. And it would probably be 100, maybe more, because it's a really nicely made, designed mask, right? Even as a half mask, I would feel like that's legit. That's a good price because there's a lot of work that went into that. I think over 100 is kind of probably too much, but depending on what work went into it, do you get that strap that has, the buckle? I mean, all that drives up your costs. So I thought I'll never own it because I looked at the prices. Some of the prices 50, 80, but the reason I didn't buy them at that price was because I know they're all different sellers. There's not one person selling, I don't think, these to everybody. This is a mass-produced mask in the sense that it's being ripped off. It's being bootlegged. I'm guessing, just my 2 cents. And so my assumption was if it's on Etsy by different sellers, it's on Amazon from different sellers, it's on eBay from different sellers. It's not the same mask. There's not one place selling these. They're probably, and it's not hard to do, as I understand. You make a copy of it and you keep making them. And so I don't know. I could be wrong. And if so, I'd love the maker of this mask to watch this video and say something. That would be fantastic. At any rate, I haven't seen any reviews, which has kind of concerned me. This particular eBay listing, or I'm sorry, Amazon listing, if we scroll down, has item not as shown. Not as shown, eyes are not mesh. The eye holes are above the eyes, okay? And you look at it and you're like, that's not the same mask. Also, the eye holes, that's a disappointment. So that was my fear. That was my fear. And look at the paint job is not nearly what we see in those pictures because they're selling you images of probably the original mask and they want to try to sell you that. And, that's not always what you get. So I said, if I see it at a certain price point, then I will buy it, right? And that price point finally showed up. It had to be a certain price. Free shipping was my ideal. And it had to be in the US because some of them were in China and you're like, you'll get them in January of 2022. Too late. I don't want it that late. So I pulled the trigger at $15. It came in about 4 or 5 days. I think it was in California. That was a pretty good deal, I thought. So let's look at it. I turned off the background. And this is the mask. Okay. Not quite what we see. Also lighting. And again, the paint job is very different. So I have it on a foam head. By the way, a tip, if you have a foam mannequin head, right, or just a foam head, always cover that because styrofoam will absorb moisture out of your latex mask, which has some moisture in it. Dry it out, it rots. Not good. You don't want to do that. So just to give you an idea, and I'm bad at this with this camera, I know he looks like a cone head, but that's because I have the head, this head smaller than mine, and it's big, still too big for this mask. And you can see the detail on the teeth is pretty good. I mean, it's a quick paint job because you see how the paint gradation from yellow to like whitish, that's quickly done, right? Like that's being done quickly. There's not the same amount of detail going on. There's not the black wash. There's not, under the eyes, we're not seeing like here quite a bit. The bags are not as defined. A black wash over this would have brought these details out. Other than that, okay, and I'm going to take it off of here just so we can look at it not pulled in that way. I got to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised, at least in that for $15, I didn't really waste a whole lot of money. And I think it's a good base mask. I think it has some really, now I say base, meaning if you're of the inclination where you would want to get some paint, and you would also want to get some liquid latex. If you're ever going to paint latex, like a latex mask, you want to mix in that paint liquid latex, because if you just put paint, depending on the paint you use, it may crack over time. But if you put it in a little liquid latex, that's going to help it actually mold and bond to this, so that it won't peel or crack quite as much. That's what I've heard, so I'm guessing that's the case. And I have done it with one Myers mask that I have, and it seemed to be a pretty good thing. So there's a lot of detail in this. This is the inside of the mask. There's a lot of detail going on here. It needs a better paint job if I were going to do something. Also, by the way, the lighting in here is washing it out quite a bit. There is some black detail. Like there is a light wash here that brings out some of the wrinkles, and but this is a great base. It's a great sculpt. I just feel like it needs a better paint job. If I were going to do something to it, I would dilute, and you can get this at Walmart. Apple Barrel is the brand. I think it's called Apple Barrel. It's something Apple something. They're like 90 cents bottles of acrylic paint. You dilute that heavily with water, black, whatever color you're using, and you can get a small finger spray bottle, or just probably better because you don't want to paint the eyes and the teeth, and just kind of wet cloth on there and get, but very diluted, and then wipe that off, and you'll have black paint staying in the ridges and the wrinkles and all that. So, there's work that could be done, but I do like that there's a good base there. I like that they put in this foam, and I think that's a nice shape of the foam, a nice location. I'm not going to put it on because it is almost impossible for me to talk with it. You won't be able to hear me. It's very tight to my face, but I have a big head. I have my head, by the way, to measure for a mask, get a tape measure, and you wrap it around your forehead. I'm a 24-inch head. I have a big head. So, which can be problematic sometimes for me. This mask is too small. Now, if it had adjustable straps like we saw in those pictures with the buckle, well, it would be a nice fit. The foam is a good touch, man. Like, that's something that really is going to help it stay off your face. My biggest complaint wearing it, since I'm not putting it on right now, just to let you know, my biggest complaint is breathing and talking. They should have, I think, since this is pretty deep black between the teeth, I wonder if they couldn't have at least put some small holes that you wouldn't have even seen, just to let you breathe out of your mouth. You do have nostrils, right? I mean, you do have the nostril holes, and I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see them here, and they're a good size. Excuse me. So you'll be able to breathe through there, but it's not comfortable. So what I would do if I were you, before I talk to you about the main problem with this mask, is if you get this mask, I would not pay more than $15 if it's going to look like this, and it very likely will. And I would accentuate it with something else, right? I would have something, other costume element, which I'll make some suggestions here at the end. My one problem, okay, the sculpt is great. It's a deep sculpt, meaning it retained a lot of the details of the mold. That's super. That's, you can work with that if you want to detail it. If you're a collector and you're just going to put this on a mannequin head anyway, and you paint it, it'll look great. It'll look creepy as hell on your. I'm not even sure I want to put it on the shelf having it look at me, because that's creepy, man. Like I think it's great, but it is scary. It is unsettling. Problem is, with any mask that you wear, you want to think about it for a second. But what's the most important thing that a mask you're wearing should have, other than holes to breathe? Why, gee, fan man, probably, I don't know, eye holes. You saw that mask we looked at on Amazon where they cut the eye holes. They didn't here, which is good because it ruined the sculpt. You'll notice that you see kind of an iris going on there, and you can see it also on this side a little bit better. You see how the latex is actually kind of going inside from the eye. So it's a plastic lens of sorts here, okay, that has been not only inserted under that latex, right? And I don't know how well, yeah, it's been inserted in here and then glued. So when I put the mask on the first time, it was as if I didn't have my glasses on, and I have very bad vision, and I wear contacts and I wear glasses. So, and I thought that's not good. And I don't know if it'll show up in this with my camera quality, but the lenses, if you want to call them that, are very, they're scratched. They're blurry. They're like they've got what it looks like. What it feels like is that there's coats of glue. That's what it feels like. You'd almost scratch it off. And I've tried like with my nail, and it hasn't come off, but that's what it feels like. It feels like there's layers of something on it. And there are little holes, or little dots rather. I think you see this glob right here? That's got to be glue. So my guess is this was haphazardly made. The mask was sculpted, and they were making a bunch of these. And then they just took they just took the mask here. They got their lens thing with the eyes, put it in there, probably came in from this side, and then just glued the whole thing, which makes it really impossible to see through. And that's kind of an important thing with the mask you're going to wear. If you're not going to wear it, not a concern. If you're going to wear it and be stationary, like if you're in a haunt or whatever you're doing, that could work. You just won't see out of it. What I would recommend if you buy this and the mask is in this condition, like the eyes are this bad, you're going to probably carefully. What I would recommend first is getting a hair dryer, maybe some hot water, and trying your best to soak, or if a hair dryer, just blow on here and trying to get the latex to become, really malleable enough to where you can peel it. Oh, look, it cracked. Look at that. Look how easy that was. You're like, oh my gosh, fan man, you're damaging it. No, I'm not. Believe me. Wow, it's just coming right off. That's not good. And that's fine because again, $15 mask. Plus, yeah, I would like to see out of it. But yeah, so you can now see as I'm doing it, you can see that it's coming off pretty easily. So this was not thought out, right? And again, that's why I'm tending to think this was not. This is somebody's kind of. There have been a lot of people stealing this design, but it looks like you can take these lenses off, and then I think you'll be able to see through the hole nicely. You don't need this lens, although it does cover the eyes. But what's the point if you can't see through it? So I would do that, kids, if you get it, and it's, don't pay more than $15. Do not, unless you find the original designer and they say, I made this mask and there are people ripping me off and here's the original. And then if it's $80, it's probably worth it, or 60 or something. If it's $150 and it might be this when you get it, no, don't do it. Don't do it. You could remove the eyes. I probably will do that since I already started. And I could see wearing it in that way. I could even see maybe finding some other ways, just some black mesh, maybe in front where they had these things, putting the black mesh, because it would be better at least than what they have. So, don't be taken in by pictures. Always make sure there's some kind of context in a photo online that gives you an idea of scale. And remember that those pictures you're seeing that we looked at, that ain't what you get. Right now, again, I could be wrong, but I think most people are going to get this. It isn't terrible. It needs work. And it needs really, I would think, if I had the time, and I don't, I would strip the paint on the teeth and repaint it. And I would definitely do a wash on the rest of the face. So anyway, it could go by various names: creepy, smiling, demon, evil mask, Halloween for terror, scary, horror. But there you've seen it. And it, again, I wouldn't pay more than $15, and I wouldn't pay shipping either, man. Like, I would get free shipping, because if this is what you're getting, and it does have the band sewn in. Let me also put it in this context. Better masks. In fact, I reviewed one made by the folks at Ghoulish Productions, who make really great product. And their stuff is mass marketed. They sell it at Party City and other places. I reviewed one last season, Halloween season, here on the channel. It was $9.99. It's a mask about this size. The detail's better. The paint job is better. And it's a steal at $9.99. And it's worth, I think they sell it for $25 maybe, or $15 on their site. That's better quality than this. So you don't want to overpay for this. Good base, though. I think there's going to be a lot of people buying these on Halloween. I think this might be because it's been omnipresent, at least it seems to me. And it's just a shame there's not. I'd love to know who made it originally, and if you could buy good that look like these pictures from them directly, that would be worth the investment. So there you go, kids. Thanks for watching, and be sure to look for some more Halloween content coming, and absolutely more Mask Mondays. Stay safe, stay super.